You got me in a picture?
Of course.
We got 4 minutes.
And there's an 800 number, so you have to have your account number and your address compatible. And basically, like I said, I'll spell it out. So who cares?
I'm just more worried about getting
They're all right, but yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just trying to get you all.
Don't go to the backyard.
Yes, town
I said, don't go to the backyard.
I don't mean to how slow it is time-wise, it's slow.
Even Dewey says he's present.
Oh, yeah.
I have a sign-up sheet if anybody wants to talk.
How you doing?
And they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Well, I'll find that out. She is going to a different meeting at a different time. It's called Spice for Overwatch. And how to organize watch this time. And tonight they're talking about community security. So she's there taking notes.
Overwatch the military of their snipers instead of hiring.
Well, one of the guys who is very active is former jargon. And that wouldn't surprise me, because he's the one who gave it the name.
We think it's great.
But we need to have access. What do you think the public
I'm actually going to let him look at my door.
How are you, Mark? I am one of your two guys?
Well, it's a friend, he's out of town.
Okay. I'm actually going to get some.
Maybe we should get both of them. Oh, the other guy, he's in Spain. He's killing animals. He has access tomorrow.
Is it really going to be Mr. Secretary is here, Madam Vice President is here, Julie's here, and Mark is here, and Paul, President, is here. So we're here, we established quorum. Today's a special meeting, so we're not going to go through the regular litany of reports from various entities. We're going to stick strictly to the agenda. We thought we needed to bring up some of this old business and new business so that we could get some discussion, and then on the upcoming June meeting, maybe make some decisions. But we want feedback so that we have community feedback regarding the decisions that we make. So that's why it's very limited in its scope, and very limited in the number of agenda items. So, first order of business is old business, pool issues and potential resolutions. So, we have gotten 3 quotes for each one of the 3 pools. So, when we look at the Cove pool, we're looking at roughly $37,000 to bring the pool up to date. And if we do a concrete wall, retaining wall, $47,000. So instead of going with the railroad tie thing, that would be $47,000. So obviously we can't do anything beyond $25,000. So that's why we're going to talk tonight. The Pavilion pool, we've got some major issues to drain it and to scrape it, acid wash it, replaster and do all that stuff. We're looking at about $28,000. So again, it is exceeding our $25,000 limit for the board. And then the Hill pool is looking at $44,000. So we've gotten 1 quote. We're trying to get multiple quotes. So as we have discussion in June and stuff, that we can come up with some potential answers. Now, one of the things that's been raised by various board members is
Look at the blue truck this is. Can
Yeah,
you
mine.
Please get that off my yard, sir, please.
Well, it's really in the common area, but I'm more than happy to move it forward.
Thank you.
You don't mind? Okay. We're looking at the potential of multiple things. Do we want to just hobble along and just do piecemeal maintenance just so that it works? Which pool is the oldest?
The oldest one is the Cove.
The Cove pool is roughly 40 years old.
Yeah, over 40 years old. And the other 2 were right, they said around 30.
Right around 30 years old. And so we would like to hear some feedback. We'd like to have some discussion up here. Do we want to just fill the pools in and build 1 pool? Because if you look at $37,000, $28,000, and $44,000, you're looking at $100,000. And so, is that something that would be a viable answer for y'all? Of course, to come up with $100,000, we would have to get a majority of people. We'd have to have, what, more than 35 people?
We have to do a special meeting, we have to have a quorum, which has to have 35 people, because that's 10% of our membership. And then it has to be 51% of who votes that day.
Yeah. And so we would have to have a lot of dialogue. We'd have to do a lot of promoting to get people to attend so that we could have the actual community quorum so that we can make those types of decisions. I'm investigating right now using some of the property, community property, as collateral. I will be able to report in June as far as if we could get a loan. And you know how many years it would be, and it would probably have to be a special assessment where each property owner would pay a certain amount towards the loan on an annual basis until the term of the loan expires. So we want to discuss all of these different options. We want some feedback from you all, and we want some table discussion as to what people think we need to do with the pools.
Have you looked into the price of a brand new pool versus what it would cost for the pool?
Yeah, one of the members isn't here. She had said she had talked to someone and said you're looking at about anywhere from 100,000 up to 200,000 for a brand new pool. So we've kind of looked at the fact, well, Paul put the numbers together, okay? So the one point, I'm making this to the board and to you all to think about, is the fact that you've got us, that we're trying to do the best we can with the money that we have to allocate, but we need to think about it as a community. What's the best thing to do for the community? Yes, you might have a pool that's located next to you, that's convenient, makes it easy, but again, if you're looking at spending this kind of money and you're putting, I call it a Band-Aid. You're putting a Band-Aid on these pools, and we're already looking at this piece of money, when's the next Band-Aid gonna have to go on? And as some of you know, I was on the board before, and we actually had, the Pavilion pool was up to have what the work that we're looking at doing. It was on the reserve study in 21, and we couldn't move, and Janet was with me, because we were looking at a 25,000 number then, and our documents read that when it's, like Paul said, when it's over 25,000, the members have to basically vote for that. And so, again, I want you to think about the thought of this chunk of money. Would it be better that we pay for a huge community area up here? And most subdivisions, I'll call this a subdivision, and ones I've been part of through my years, with the amount of homes that we have, they have one nice pool. One nice pool, and we could turn this whole area into a community center like it should be. So that's a thought that I would like you to think about, because if that pool, and again, I don't know, Mark, you were working on a quote. Did you get a quote from another pool company? Okay. But like Paul said, you know, if we can get some quotes, we'd like to quote that out there as a brand new pool. Can I go ahead and mention the problem we have with this one?
Yes, please.
Okay. I recently got pulled into the pools, and like I said, I dealt with them before. So this pool here, we as a board, and you all need to understand, in my opinion, we need to close that pool now. And the reason is it has a plaster problem and it has tile problem. The tile, as I said, goes clear back to 21. The cleaning company cannot get it clean anymore. That's why if you look at it, it looks green or it looks black. They cannot get the algae off because it's embedded in the grout. They also made the comment, because of the tile breaking, if you, a child, your grandchild, went into that pool and they cut their foot, you think about the next course. We as a community cannot afford another lawsuit, because we already had a hard enough time, from what I understand, to get insurance. So think about it that way. And so logically, we should be taking this pool down until there's a decision made if we're going to repair it or we're going to totally replace it. So,
Yes, sir.
Are you telling me,
the Pavilion pool, yes.
are you telling me the tile and replaster that is 27,000?
28.
28.
Because you have to drain it.
I got that. They do that when you contract. No, I got that.
Yeah,
And that's 28,000.
yeah, to completely.
Who all told you it was 28,000?
The bid.
The bid.
We have a bid.
A bid?
Yeah, and we're working on multiple bids. We want to get at least 3 bids before we move forward.
Now, I don't know much about up here, but you know, and when I say back in Houston, you know, it's ain't Houston. That's if you don't go, try to go to the people that do the work, because the pool companies are all contracting that out.
Yeah, this is a repair specialist. These are the people that specialize in repairing. They're not pool builders.
And they're gonna plaster it.
Yep.
Okay. The other thing, on all this land that you got, everybody has their eye on, you might want to go to one of these water board meetings, because they got their eye on that land too. So everybody buying that land in for this loan, and then they're wanting to do that, this and that and the other, and they got their eye on that land.
Understood.
But Bobby, that's another opinion from the members who'd like to know is, wouldn't you rather have the money if we could sell the land that we own as a POA, use it for the roads versus using it for the pools? Anybody's thoughts?
Well, we'll get to that. Let's just talk pools right now. That's another thing. Okay, Mark, you had a comment regarding pools.
Well, I went down and looked at the pool down by the loops there, and you know, the railroad ties, originally, how they installed them, they actually just, dug them into the ground on the end, dug the dirt, then they poured the, patio there, cement up against it, and they actually tied it into the earth with rebar. So there's no retaining wall behind that. They actually just took pieces of rebar, half-inch diameter, maybe drove it into the dirt to hold it there. So that kind of worked for, how old are the pools? 40 years, 50 years, something like that?
Yeah.
So it's worked this long, but it's, you know, if they had done it right the first time, they would have poured a retaining wall out of concrete, and that would have lasted 100 years. So that's our problem, but that's part of the discussion, because to fix that wall, or to eventually, if there is anything that pool needs to be replaced, that retaining wall is the way you'd have to come in from the other side, I would think. I don't know who owns that property, but if you come in from loop number 1 side, you'd have to take out the walkway and the stairs, which are in disrepair, by the way, too. A lot of the steps are not, you know, right. There's been no maintenance done on our pools in this community, on roads and pools, for day one. And so we really need to address what the strategy is going to be. This community has to come to the decision. We're going to have 3 pools. We're going to have 1 great pool, like what they did in Ridge Harbor. They made 1 really nice pool there. You know, that one's kind of a small pool. All our pools are small because they don't get serviced a lot. And, you know, as far as I can see, a lot of our pools don't even get used by a lot of the community. The pool down by Loop 1 and 2, those are mostly used by the, you know, the B&B people, pretty much, when they come in to party for the weekends and whatever. So, you know, we're at a point where this community's got to face some hard, cold facts. You know, what are we going to do? And like most of us here, one of the reasons why we bought here is because of the amenities. So tennis courts, pools, marina, the gate out front, you know, for somewhat security. So we need to decide where this community is going to go. Either we're going to keep reinvesting in what we have and protect our assets, our values of our homes, or if we don't, you're going to see this community slowly just go die by a slow death of people wanting to live here, and the people that can, you know, afford to live here because of the values.
Okay. Any other comments from the board regarding pools?
I think from a perspective of building a new pool, we'd have to have some laws in place, rules, because people that rent around here just don't have any appreciation for the pools. You hear horror stories, and I see it here all the time. They're bringing in bottles, they're staying up late, they're being loud. For us to build a brand new pool, let's say just 1, you're bringing all 3 pools into 1, so can you imagine all the people that are renting, they want to come out and have fun? And it's going to turn into horror. So I think there's going to be some real...
Your next house. Or
Right.
your house.
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, anybody really, but it just turns into disaster.
It does.
I have a question.
Yes.
So have we given thought to, if we close the other 2 pools and rebuild here, have we given thought to a plan? Because you're going to need more parking. You know, how is that going to work? Have we even thought that far? Or are we just thinking pool? I mean, I think we need to think about the whole scope of what needs to happen.
That's why we're discussing this today, is we're not making any decisions.
Right, but it would be nice to know what the plan is.
Yeah.
So that we can make a realistic decision.
Come June, we'll probably have more information with more of a plan. But thank you.
But in the meantime, are any of these pools going to stay open for the summer? That's what we need to know.
Probably not. And the reason why is because we just talked about them being a liability. This pool right here is probably going to be closed down, I would think.
I was gonna say, I'm getting ready to make a motion, because I don't wanna know that we have another lawsuit on the table.
So is any pool going to be left open is what I'm asking.
Right now, we're limping with the hill pool. Or is it the cove pool?
Yeah, the cove's on the
Cove pools.
The cove. This
The
is
cove,
the
the loop,
cove.
I mean, yeah, cove, yeah. That's the one that's got the liability. There's 2 railroad ties that are down that, you know, I could fix, I could put back up and get them to be secure. But, you know, the whole wall, all the steps going down there are a liability. I mean, that's just a lawsuit waiting to happen down there, in my opinion.
Okay.
You know, the decision has to be made by the community what we're going to do, so we know what to do, you know, so we get directions. But obviously we need to propose all the different options to everybody, and so the community can vote.
Yeah.
What
the
of
community
that
wants to
pool
do.
needs to be done, minus the steps and the wall?
The retaining wall, well, that's the big part.
That's the big
That
part.
pool seems to be in pretty good shape the way I saw it and looked at it the other day. Tiles seem pretty good. There's no mold growing anywhere that I could see.
Did you look at the deck, Paul, Mark? Because that was an issue that 3 years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, this, you can nitpick everything apart, but the problem is it's still relatively safe that way, the structure of the pool. If we fix the part of the retaining wall with 2 railroad ties, that seems still fairly safe. The hill pool, I went over there and there's some tiles missing on, I don't know, I wouldn't call it the hot tub because it's not really any hotter.
It doesn't work.
I call it the soaking tub that feeds into the pool. And there's some tiles that are missing there, and I just went to touch one next to where the ones are missing, and it fell out. I poked it like that hard, and it fell off. So those tiles are falling, so that opens up a liability if tiles keep falling off. Tiles could be glued on temporarily. You know, we could get some other tiles that could be just epoxied on till we decide what's going to happen to that pool. So very minor work. Another thing that I don't know if Paul's going to bring up today, but we just received today notice that our pool company is resigning from taking care of our pools. I don't know if you saw that. So ABC has resigned, 30-day notice. They don't want any more to do with our community. So it's going to even get harder for people to, unless any of you want to start your own pool cleaning company, or we do it in-house, which is in the world. I cleaned a pool all my life when I was a young man, 100 years ago.
But then you're talking chemicals and all that business.
It's very simple. It's not that hard. You have a thing that measures it. The chemicals are also a big concern. There's a lot of variation in the chemical reports. So we just got a couple of them recently from ABC, and each pool has different problems. Sometimes the pH is out of whack. Sometimes the chlorine level is out of whack. When you're fighting mold or that's embedded behind the tiles or in the layers of paint, the only way to get that out is to sandblast that and bleach the whole thing and chemically treat it and then start fresh at that point. Then rebuild upon that. So, but I think the hill loop and then the down by the loops down there, that pool, to me they seem not too bad. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. The Crown Pool Company did give us a 30-day notice, so we will have to.
Motion Mark to be heard.
Sue, I'm sorry, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. A couple things. One is more people use the code pool than what you think. The reason we think people don't use it is because we don't drive by it all the time like we do these up here. It has some unique characteristics like shade and that kind of stuff. So,
and it seems to me that the bid
I got the board an estimate. Jim and I got an estimate to replace that whole wall all the way around and fix the entrance where it's washed out there. We got an estimate for that, so we know how much it costs to get that fixed.
Is that
okay? Third, if we have land to sell in order to help with our debt problem, I think we should sell the land first, get the money in the bank, and then go shopping.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dan,
I had a slightly outside of the box idea.
That's okay.
Because this isn't the code pool problems. This isn't new. I think we've replaced the pump 3 times since 15 because somebody thinks it's cute to put gravel down in the strainers. But with all the other problems down there, I thought, and why not offer to sell it to the center code? $100,000. Hey, it's yours. It gets deeded over. You're shaking your head. Think outside of the box. You're talking about closing it.
There are people that live in that code that want that pool.
That comes out closing it and paying to get it closed.
Right, and then you have money to do the other pools with.
And then it's
And they're really proud of that
pool. Then we're not liable for it.
That's right.
Who do you think we need to contact?
Well, you have an excellent real estate attorney. Ask him how that would work.
Gagel. So we'll all talk to him about it.
Okay.
Does the code have their own board or sub-board?
I don't think Sue's finished yet.
No, I was thinking about what Danny said, and I don't think that's a bad idea. But one thing to consider is when somebody else owns a chunk of property down there, what kind of access do we have to give all their friends and participants to get down there to it?
Yeah, if you do that, then they're going to want only those people that contribute. They'll want their own pool. They'll have their own swipe cards. The rest of the community won't be able to use it. I think it's a terrible idea.
It would be their pool. Well, you're talking about closing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about closing it, I mean, maybe temporarily.
And 14, Bob Maven.
I think we should do a special assessment right now and really to pay for all 3 pools and do the roads. And everybody suck it up and spend a couple $1,000s per household.
That's gonna go.
That's what I would do.
I know, you got money.
At one point, Sue, the hill was its own association and the cove was its own association. Some people here are been here long enough to go back to that period of time. So that's kind of what you're talking about, like Danny's out of the box thought. If that did happen, you know, there'd be a separation of keys and so on, where, you know.
Pretty long time, because I've been here 20 years, and it wasn't that way when we got here.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the pool's
And if they're not
40 years old.
association anymore, there's probably a good reason why they're not.
Well, that's good to know that it's at least been 20.
Well, all 3 pools,
Janet?
all 3 pools were redone. This one was 14. The hill was in 15, and I believe the center cove was done in 16, and somewhere there's a video floating around of the center cove being done.
Okay, thank you. Janet?
I would recommend that we research our documents to determine about selling common property. The pools will be considered common property. The property that we own in the airport might be considered common property, in which case it may require a 2/3 vote of the membership in order to sell it.
Most likely.
Josie said she'll look into that. She'll check with legal
Yeah.
to see what we would have to do in order to, anything.
If it's gonna require a 2/3 vote, you know where that takes us.
Oh, yeah, totally do. Any other comments regarding pools? Okay,
Well, can I make a comment?
yes, please.
I'm sorry.
No.
So, you know, I'm all about the pool, especially since there's no lake, right? I like to go dive in every now and then. So I know that this is a dilemma. I know if we address everything all at once, it's a big deal. But if we take a few things at a time, like we're gonna get more bids on the Pavilion pool here. So it could be less than $25,000. But we close it down, and guess what? That eliminates our VRBO problem, right? Because all they know is this pool. Those other 2 pools are kind of hidden back. So that may be an option, and I'm not trying to be underhanded here, but you know, hey, it is what it is. We're the ones who spend the money. We're the ones who get to share it with them. So if we close down this pool, and we keep the other 2 pools open and fix them, if we can, for like, I don't know, under 25. You know, we take it one step at a time. As far as parking and what you had addressed there, that is a key situation, because I can tell you, I've been to the Cove Pool, there is no parking up there. It is completely out of the realm. But we own all of that property all the way around Bedford. It can be turned into a parking lot. It can have a pool in there. We could extend this pool out. You know, there's certain things that we can do to look at parking for one and extending the pool. It's not my decision. I'm just trying to throw out some, you know, ideas out here so that you all can maybe think about that. I've lived out here for a long time. And so I do want a pool. There is no lake right now, and I want to be able to go in to the water. Patty, did you have a question?
I think you're mistaken in saying that the renters don't know about those other pools, because I know people in the Cove that say they can only use the pools like Monday through Thursday because there's renters there over the weekend.
Well, that's
and people at Hilltop, I've heard all kinds of complaints about renters having parties up at those pools. So to say that the renters don't know about the pools is, I think,
Well, I
not
think that,
correct.
Greg, what I think that they do is those people from out here aren't going over there. It's the people that are in the Cove that have VRBOs. So
Right.
it's not the whole, I'm not saying it's
Right,
not.
right. It seems like most of the renters are on that side anyways, where those other pools are now.
It's a possibility.
They kind of put a map on the counter that tells them they're not gonna be hidden.
Yeah, well, it's an idea. I'm throwing out ideas. I'm sorry if you guys don't all agree. It's not set in stone.
Well, I
kind of
understand, I'm just saying,
situation.
I think lots of renters, know about those pools.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Well, they're right there.
That's the only thing they have to give, they don't have a lake to talk about.
Okay, several things. We're gonna have 3 bids on all 3 pools the next time we meet in June, so that we'll have more information. We're gonna try and get some information out so we can get at least 35 people in the gallery, so that if we need a vote of the community, that we could put it to a vote of the community. If some of the bids come in greater than $25,000. So we're going to look at, I am going to report on what it would take to get a loan, and we'll talk about some other things later. If we do a new pool, and one of the things we need to do is we need to look at our current pools and come up with pool rules so that we can minimize the damage. We're going to look at a plan for parking. So whatever we come up with, we have to have a plan so people can get to the pools. We will be looking at probably closing this pool due to the fact right now it's irreparable with regard to the algae. And so with tiles being sharp and algae in the pool, we need to probably mitigate the liability. I'm going to look into seeing if we can get some tiles on the hill pool so that we can at least make sure that they're not falling off.
Yeah.
So we'll get that. We're going to have to find a new pool cleaning company regardless of what we do because we have 30-day notice. And we will look into legal just to find out if we do sell property, which would potentially include a swimming pool, what do we need to do to make that happen? Do we need a 3/4 majority vote? Or 2/3? Okay.
If it's property.
Okay,
That's
2/3.
in the restrictions.
Yeah, okay.
But you can change the bylaws and increase the 25,000 to a higher number that would only be where you have a meeting of the members, the quorum of 10% and 50% of those of the quorum voted.
Yeah.
So
And
you
so-
bump that up.
Yeah.
Which it should be anyway.
And it would have to be for capital items only. Yeah, it couldn't be for anything outside of, roads and pools.
Well, it had, the way the section reads, it basically was done for that particular reason.
Yeah.
It was done for trash collection.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Paul. The $25,000 figure, when was that set?
It was set in 2009.
2009. So really, there should be a review of that every 5 years, right?
Right, because it's not even,
Because
you know
it
how
is-
much things have gone up, it's
Yeah.
not even practical.
Because it is hamstringing this organization.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm going to address that right now. While I appreciate what you're saying, Janet, that keeps us all in line, okay? The fact of the matter is, there is a way to go over the $25,000. And you have to budget it at the beginning of the year in order to have that done. So there is a caveat to the 25,000.
Okay. Can I ask one follow-up question there then? The budgeting process, is that something done among the board, or does that also need to be voted in by the same majority that we're talking about?
That's by the board.
Okay, so you, this year, with the 10% increase, you could have budgeted for these other items, right? Is that correct?
We could.
Oh,
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's a good debatable question, because now you're hamstrung by the state law, 10%.
10%.
So, is that for capital investment for your total budget? I don't know, we have to find, that's a good
Right,
question. So we might, I believe we're hamstrung going 10% a year,
Okay.
so this community basically
Right.
has a death sentence for actually.
yeah, so what I'm trying to
The
get
state
is that
allows you
these
to
all,
go up to
these all
20.
converge, right? These different rules converge.
Yeah.
And we need to understand what that conversion point is so that we can.
Yeah.
Well, the state law trumps everything, and there's been a lot of I talked to our community manager today. There was more changes that were done in 23 that involves POAs and HOAs, so I don't have what those changes were. I know in 21, Janet was with me on the board then, there was a whole pile of changes done. But the state comes in and says, no, you can't do it more than 20, though our docs read, as we just said, it has to be 10% or you as the members vote. But back to what Josie was saying, what she meant was that when the budget is done by the board, like if we had the quotes last year, use that as an example, they could have put it on the budget and it would have been a budgeted item at that point in time to carry us through. Now you as members would see that at the annual meeting when we pass out our, what we're proposing as the, proposing as the budget to work on for this year.
And it would probably be in a negative figure until we get the authorization from the community to secure the funding necessary to suit that budget item. Yeah, sir.
I think a lot of these issues boil down to the fact that most of us who have been here for a while, I've been here 30 years, and there's no trust in the board.
Right.
And I don't say that to any of you because the ones of you I know I trust. There's some of you I don't know. But we have a really ugly history. Things where these bids, you know, whether it's a pool or a road or whatever it is, a bid goes out, it's high, the work is done, it's low quality, and there's no recourse, and I'm pretty sure somebody lined their pockets along the way. Yeah. We have to get trust in this board. Yeah. And then once when the community has trust in the board, then I think a lot of us are going, man, do what you got to do to keep our neighborhood up. That's what we elected you.
Well, I think that's where the 25,000 rule came from back here in 2009, where they put it in place because they wanted to make sure you as members basically knew, you know, what was going on.
Yeah, one of the reasons we called this special meeting was just what you indicated. Yeah. We're trying to be as transparent as we can possibly be. And, you know, we're not running our meeting according to state law, which says, you're the public, you get 3 minutes, BS. You know, you guys own property here. Right. And so you have, you're stakeholders. And so your opinions are valuable to this board anytime we make decisions.
And there's a follow-up I'd like to say on that. I don't know if y'all are aware or if the whole world's aware, but there has been a real problem with pools, particularly in this state in Central Texas. And there are literally thousands upon thousands of pools that are a few years old and are rotten because they've been doing them wrong with the cement, and the cement is rotten, and they're going to all have to be torn out. So if we do go to contract pool work, we need to get on top of what that is, because I'm serious. Multiple of the major pool companies have been building pools that are all going to have to be torn out. You're going to see them going bankrupt soon, and that's going to affect any company that we're getting in here. So try to be aware of that when we're looking at these bids. And a second thought would be, if we can find a big company with big enough pockets that we can sue them if they screw it up, and say, look, what we want you to do is a 3-year contract to repair all of our pools. You can shut down one year, get it fixed, move to the next one, and at the end, there'll be a $15,000, $20,000 bonus if you bring it in on time and budget. You know, it's worked in a lot of multiple municipalities to do it that way. I'm not saying that's what I want, I'm just saying those are options we should look into.
And that's what we want. We want feedback. So thank you for that. And thank you for the piece about some of the pool builders.
Yeah, there was a big thing on TV about it just recently.
Would you like to volunteer to be a head of the committee to do that?
No.
Get to the point, right? Check it.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think everybody knows by now, you know, the letters we've been getting on the, the letters we've been getting say that we need to trim our trees and it's not our trees. And I don't expect the inspector to know every detail of every lot, but there's no way for us to communicate back to them.
And I do, if they're gonna send a threatening letter, I expect them to know.
There was legal terms there, and you know, and you have to pay the lawyer fees.
Hold on a second. So we made the decision that you know, since it's a new management company, with the previous one, they were pretty much useless company. So the new one, the way the board has approached it is to send out notices. There's not gonna be any enforcement right away. It's to let everybody know there's a new policy being, going back. The old policy is now starting to be reinforced. But there's gonna be a grace period for everybody. And if you don't have a way to reach out to them, there are phone numbers on there are email addresses. Melissa is our direct contact for our community. And if you can't reach her, or she doesn't reach back to you, then you reach out to one of the board members, and then we will have a discussion with her why she's not reading back.
I literally spoke to 2 of them, and neither one of them spoke English.
No,
they didn't speak Texas.
Well, that's,
I've got an email address that Melissa, because I talked to her as I told Katie about this particular situation since I saw so much that was going on. So she gave me a direct email that goes to her that she has to monitor. And if you don't have a connection into Town Square, I would highly suggest that you work with, when you do make that connection, to make that connection into Town Square, because once you get into their portal, you can actually put that statement, whatever comment.
I couldn't find it. I looked on the webpage, I looked in the app, I couldn't find the letter they sent us. I couldn't find any way to send a message to somebody on the admin.
I want you to start with this. I don't know, everybody's got a pen. I've got the email written down up here.
so just come see us after the meeting, okay? And if you need help for some reason, you can't do it,
No, it's not
one
our
of us will
land.
help you do it.
It's not our land.
Okay.
Well, it's okay, but the point is, that she's gonna, the problem is, she has to come in to a new community, and she's gotta try to figure everything out.
Yes.
I've gotten the same thing, I get a letter for a property I don't own.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be mistakes, don't get, upset, and don't get worried, you're not gonna get fined right away, this is gonna be a process.
Okay, but they
It has to be worked
attacked
out.
us. We have the right to be upset. They threatened me over something that I'm not responsible for. Read the letters that they're sending out to people. Okay? It has consequences and a time frame for me to take care of this business. And I can't even reach them to work out the time frame for it to be worked out.
So,
Because they don't speak English.
Because they don't speak English. That's what's the 2 of them.
okay.
I talked to 3.
All right, we've got new management company, they've got new letters. I will have a nice talk with them. As far as trimming trees, the only tree trimming we want you to do is if you have dead limbs on the ground that present a fire hazard, or if on your property you have a tree that encroaches the road. That's the only tree trimming. They did a generic letter. I don't know where it came from, so we're gonna rework the letter. We're not finding anybody. All we want to do is just start to get the community back. As Mark pointed out, our post management company saw us as a cash cow. They sent out over 100 notices 1 week, and with fines. And so they were looking to make a killing. We have a new management company.
So that's what I feel like this new one's doing too.
And that's what we don't want from them. And so it's up to me, take the lead, go through the letter, call the young lady who actually drives through, call Melissa, call the person who authored the letter, and we're gonna have to restructure the letter that works for Windermere.
Thank you.
So that's my commitment, is that we're gonna have to do this. And please, if another letter comes out that looks like the old one, don't shoot me, because I may be in mid-process, but I am diligently gonna work on all your behalf, because we fired our old management company. Over a year ago, we told them, don't send out any more letters because they saw us as a cash cow. We didn't want that happening to y'all. So, give me an opportunity to get with our new management company, do some redirection so that we can make it a win-win for the entire community.
And just so everybody knows, the first time the lady did the drive-by, Paul and I went with her. And she does it every second Friday. I don't know what the schedule is.
Second and fourth, yeah.
Yeah, second and fourth Friday of the month. Paul went on the second one. So we're starting off with that. Then there's going to be other, there's certain individuals that do have certain liberties.
Can I suggest that you or she or whoever's doing that carry a plaque in the neighborhood with them?
That's the kind of.
What was your question again?
Whoever's doing the inspections or whatever and sending out the letters,
Compliance officer.
when they do that drive, they actually have a plaque to the neighborhood so that they can see what belongs
That's
to
part
them.
of the problem,
Yeah.
because it's not such an easy thing for them to do.
Right.
Like some communities have actually a plot plan of the whole community, and you can click on that lot and it tells you who owns it. She's not able to do that, so she's gotten a few of the ownership things wrong, and so,
She
yeah, you
has.
know, please understand, just give her a little time to straighten things out, and us too.
And us too, yes.
And us too.
Thank you, thank you.
I live on Hill Loop, but I also own the lots below me. There are two
Right.
lots together, and there are people on each side. And I have a lot of deer come through there and birds, and I would love to go in there and trim. I mean, I got the letter, but the neighbors on both sides have asked me, please keep it natural, because the deer kind of hide in there and hang out. And it's down a hill, and it's a beautiful view for me, but when I got the letter, I thought, what do I trim? What do I clean? Because
Yeah.
it's natural, it's not crazy, but, so that's what I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know.
So what we're looking to try to do is, you know, we're in rainy season, and we know Texas, we're in a major drought, and so we're concerned about forest fires. That's our biggest concern. So what happens if we get a lightning strike in this community and a fire starts somewhere? So that's why fields need to be cut
There's a
down,
lot of
dead
dead
trees
stuff.
need to be taken down, anything that's laying on the ground that's a dead tree needs to be cut up. Leave the oak trees, kill the cedars.
Mine's-
And anything
mine's not. Mine's all green.
anything that's imposing on the roads,
Okay.
within 5 or 6 feet, so if a tree's leaning over and a school bus goes by and that tree hits the school bus in the window and then goes through the window and kills the driver of the school bus, that we don't get somebody killed. Reliability, if the lead comes back, people drive around with their boats on their trailers and they have kids in the trailers and the tree limb is too low and hits that kid off the back of the boat. And then
They'll
things
sue
are gone
us
and
even if they were doing stupidity.
Right. No, of course, I don't have any of that, but that's what I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't quite sure how far, I'll get out there with the weed eater and hire somebody.
Come see me after so we can chat, because I
Okay.
know you've got special requirements there, so let's chat.
Okay.
Because, you know,
I want to follow the rules.
I know.
Just wasn't quite.
and that's it.
sure.
We don't want the rule enforcers to get out of control,
Yeah.
and that's my job to rein them in, so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
When did the air conditioners on the side of the house become a violation?
No.
It's not a violation to have the air conditioning unit on the side of the house. It has to have a closure around it. Either a fence or a stone wall or some nice green shrubbery that stay green all year round.
But has that been that way all?
Yes, it's never been enforced.
But the majority of homes around here?
Well, because we have a builder in this community that doesn't care what we say or do.
Yeah.
And so how do we enforce it for him? Make him do
There's a
what-
new sheriff in town. We have a new management company that will be sending out violation letters.
And they're
we'll take
looking-
legal action against those people.
And they're looking at the ACC guidelines, which that is part of the ACC guidelines. And as I said, we're not gonna be finding anybody for the next month. We wanna give people an opportunity to see what it says. I'm gonna work with some of the wording, but yeah, the ACC unit is not supposed to be visible from the front of your yard.
And neither are water collectors either.
Right.
And neither are trash barrels.
Propane tanks.
Well, apparently, so I gotta ask you, I live in a house that was built in the 1987, and my air conditioning is right out front in my house.
Oh, you're gonna get a lot of fines.
There.
It's Gladys. Put it around there, plant a couple of.
I'm trying to plant some bushes, but they don't grow because
Yeah,
of the heat.
they don't grow. Okay. Sir,
Going back to the trees,
Yes.
how do we get like a low hanging limb cut that's in the common area that's overhanging a road? 'Cause we have a lot of vehicles that only like bigger vehicles will hit the limb, and a lot of them just fall in the street right in front of our home.
Are you doing anything Saturday?
Yeah, we have,
I'll take care of it.
Okay,
if
well,
I
we have
can get the
a
green
spring
light.
cleanup on Saturday, which I bring my chainsaw, and whoever else can have chainsaws.
Yep.
Okay.
So anything that's like in the common area where, you know, we're
Yeah.
not stepping on anybody's property per
Right,
se and
right.
violating their.
that's
their
exactly
privacy
what we're
laws.
gonna do this Saturday.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, meet here.
Perfect.
Bring your tools, gloves.
How are you cutting the oaks with that sign up there says you're not supposed to cut them?
Spray
Last
within,
we sprayed them when we got
you
them.
spray within 30 seconds. And that's Texas A&M.
I got
That's,
I don't care, I'm just saying.
yeah, Texas A&M says if you spray within 30 seconds, you don't worry about it. You cut it any time of the day. Yeah, 30-second rule. Okay, we're done with the pools. I've got an action plan. I'll probably be putting information out through next door to let you know what's going on. We'll be meeting in June, so we'll have a lot more information in June. So don't worry about any fines. Just
For the near future.
for the near future. Sir. So I will indicate we're not going to have any fines unless it's egregious. I mean, there are some people that got mountains of garbage or whatever in front of their house. So
Yes, they do.
egregious.
I've got pictures.
Yeah, egregious is different than just cutting down the lawn or trimming a tree.
So I got one of those letters too, for someone else's property.
Yeah.
But my point is, and we noticed the same thing with the ACC, maybe it would be good, Paul, to stop, pull that back, take that, pull it back. Take one property and run it through the entire process and make sure it all works and understand how it works. And that way you can say, okay, let's try 5, which would be a mass mailing in this case.
Yeah.
Did that all work properly? Okay, now let it go.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
Do a
I would
phase
actually
in.
like that one of my neighbors knock on my door and say, I see this problem. Where are we at with this? And if I could have easily brought a plan out and said, well, look, see, here's the property line, and there's the tree you're talking about. They would have, okay, then we'll deal with this another way. What I don't like is a threat before I get a knock,
I get it.
because I don't take threats well.
I,
And those of you who've been around here long, you know me. But I got a feeling this guy over here, he's not have a problem knocking on my door.
okay, moving on. Next item.
I like the trick or treat.
Okay, potential sale of POA owned property. And I'm going to defer.
Well, I have found out that this property that's in back here has a 30-foot public easement on it, right down the middle of it. So not a win for us.
What piece of property? Which
It's the property right here in the backside of Dana. She owns this property, and then there's a bunch of tree lines that are right there, and that tree line is the property that we're talking about. So at this point,
By the way, that's supposed to be tennis courts.
I do know that. I do know that. But again, it's a public easement, and it's 30 foot all the way down to the flunker's house. So
Come on down.
not
viable.
Not viable.
It's labeled
Not
taxi
viable
way.
to sell, is that what you're saying? Not viable.
Well, if
we already-
we looked at, we're gonna say with limitations that
Richard, it's not
probably
deeded
aren't gonna be able to
taxiway.
build on it unless you wanna tear down your house.
Property with easements get sold all the time, and the easements remains and may benefit the person who wants to buy it.
You're right. So I'm limited on that, JD, as to the people who own the property around it, if you know what I'm getting at.
Who owns the easement?
We own, the easement goes all the way through the properties, Dana's property and the
That
Galloway's
easement
property,
is a
again,
taxiway
right
easement
through.
put in place by Charles Winston so that he could taxi his airplane from that runway to his hangar, which was down at the end of the easement.
Yeah, can we get the easement removed?
Somebody owns it, right?
Petition.
The neighborhood. Unless it's Dana, because she bought a lot of the undeveloped properties from Winston, they may have been included in that.
If it's a bridge that goes to nowhere, then maybe we can get it removed.
Yeah. Thank you for the history, though. I love the history lessons. Okay, So we're gonna have to do a little more digging and talk to legal to see if it is no longer utilized for the purpose that it was originally assigned. Maybe we can do something different.
You should know there is a hangar there already with a plane in it, and it's been there for 30 years or more. So if that's gonna, trying to close that's gonna be an issue.
That doesn't mean the airplane works.
Here we go. It's not needed as a taxiway. I have all the court documents, every last one of them. And thank God somebody saved them.
Okay, all right, so that was short and sweet. Okay, new business, we just want to ratify the new charges for the pool keys, so you want to make a motion, Julie?
I make a motion to ratify, we changed the cost of the pool keys from $30, I'm sorry, they were 25 and 20, and we moved them both up to 30 each.
I second the motion.
For a key?
For the key, the price.
Those specialized keys.
You're not changing the locks, we can use our old keys, right?
The keys that you have today, that you
Still
have.
work.
Still work, and to clarify, they work for the pools, the tennis court, and boat ramp.
And boat ramp.
Never,
But to cut that special key now costs a whole lot more money.
it's like everything else that went up.
Yeah. So I call the question. Any more discussion?
Oh, and another, can I take one other note, if you do need one going forward, we can no longer take it as cash. I've got to have a check or a money order addressed to the POA.
Okay. So call the question. Motion to increase charges for pool keys and entry fobs $30. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Use of the pavilion by residents. We've had of late and coming up multiple parties, so I'm going to see if I can transition to Goodwin and Company to keep the calendar for the rental of this. And do we want to charge a fee? Do we want to have a charge where it's cleanup fee? So, what did the ladies charge to clean the bathroom? Do you recall?
I don't know, I haven't seen a bill of late.
Okay.
Marta, do you recall anything of what's come in across the receivables?
Or
The cleaning from Mount, for Mary Mays?
Mary Mays.
it was the same as it was last year.
What year?
$60 a visit?
60?
My brain seems to remember that.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
So-
Don't quote me on that.
Okay, but
What is it? You said 75.
make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we, whoever wants to rent the common area, that we charge them a cleanup fee of $75.
I second the motion.
Okay.
So if they don't have to clean up?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, they still have to clean up. If there's any excess, we'll go after them.
Yeah, what about
That's
their
for the
trash?
So then
ladies.
that's a deposit then?
You have a posted
Or you get
deposit?
it back?
No, a fee.
It'd be
You
a
don't get
fee.
that.
Straight fee.
But that's to pay for the ladies that before every event, like our socials and other things, we pay Mary Maids to come out and make sure that the bathrooms are clean and fully outfitted. So if anybody who is going to use this and with advance notice to the board, they have clean restrooms that are fully stocked. So that's the $75 is to pay Mary Maids to come in before their event and make sure they have clean and stocked bathrooms.
They also have access to all the tables, and we need to be looking at some additional chairs, because those keep breaking, and also the garbage bags, besides the other items.
So we could use those fees, to help in maintenance of the items that were just mentioned.
Somebody was looking for dog poop bags the other day also.
I don't think they're around anymore, but
Is the stand still there?
It's over here.
Out there.
Yeah, okay. So,
I made a motion.
okay, and it's been seconded?
Julie seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next thing is collections of property owners who are in the rears. So this is something we have to do in executive session, ladies and gentlemen, so we don't want to disparage anybody. But we will come back if we take any action in executive session. We will come back and let you know what transpired and the property that we may have taken action against. So we are gonna dismiss into, yes.
Sorry. You had a list of people to talk, and I put my name on it.
Oh, we already, yeah, we did. That's where Danny spoke
I
and
never
Nate
got to
spoke.
talk about that.
Oh, did you want to, I'm sorry,
I
go ahead.
briefly wanted to touch on the cutting of the grass stuff. Greg Hagel said that was an abandoned restriction in 2009. I mean, it's great that y'all want people to take care of the lots, but I mean, as you can see, it looks that lot right there. It's never been touched, and they're all over the community. To force people to, but Paul kind of touched on it and said really they're just looking for people with the trees hanging over the street and whatnot.
And dead stuff.
And dead stuff.
Needs to get cut down and out.
But before we get into fire season, we're gonna be looking at overgrown properties, because that's gonna go dry and dead and become a fire hazard. So that's why, you know, if we maintain our lots, and if we can get people that have open lots to at least cut, mow, so that they get rid of the potential fire hazard, that's what we're looking at.
How many of the home builders, how many lots does the home builder here have remaining that look like that? It could be,
We've
about
15 to 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And we've sent letters to them. So those letters are going out to the builders that own open property. And we're gonna expect them to clean it, because, you know, who was here when we had the last big fire? Yeah, you guys know what a fire and how fast it takes off with dry brush. So we're gonna monitor that for sure, absolutely. Okay, any other before we go into executive session?
Julie wanted.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, as a member to you all, I head up the social committee, so we have set June the 10th for the summer social. So I kind of will be putting out, I'll be doing an email going out, and I'll be putting the signs out like I did before. It's going to basically be from 6 to 10. We're going to have the same band, the first steps.
On a Monday night?
No.
I said the 10th, June.
That's
Or 8th.
June
I'm
8th.
sorry. June 8th. I got changed from last year. Thank you.
June 8th.
June 8th, Saturday. Okay. Anyway, the morning we have the meeting.
That'll be the same morning that we will have our quarterly meeting.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
I apologize.
And we're gonna get everybody drunk and we're gonna vote on things after.
There you go. I'm for that.
So anyway, we're gonna have the same band we had last year. This time we're doing Mexican. We're gonna do fajita food. We are gonna be asking for $5 a head to help offset the cost, basically for some of the reasons we've talked about, all these other things that we have aboard as a community, I should say, that we have to do this year. So we will be collecting that at the time of the event. And I'm not gonna do an RSVP. We're just allowing for a certain number, because I kind of know by all the events that we've done, how many of you always show up. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. Like I said, there'll be an email, there'll be notices, so you can kind of let others know that you know in the community. It was a great success last year, so.
Yes, it was.
I would like to, I do want to say something.
Go ahead, let's do that.
So I don't know what you all think. I know that there's lots of brush around here, and I know that we as a community have people who have trailers, that kind of thing. You know, if we can get together, just like the spring cleanup, if we could get maybe a couple of those, or I've reached out to the Melvin Durham to go and pick those branches and stuff up. He hasn't actually called me back, but I don't know if that's something that we might want to consider, because it is kind of a pain if you're cutting up a
Lalo did it one year. After some freeze or something, I remember we piled all kinds of stuff all over the community, and they came in and got it.
Well, and I think that might be a good offset to kind of incent people to clean up around their house.
Or if we had a common area to drop it, that Melvin picked up.
That's a good idea too, JD. I like that idea.
Clean out a little area, that piece we were talking about, that's the drop spot.
Yeah.
The stuff off.
Speaking of fire,
It was, but that's, you know, that gets out of control. It really does. It's too much of a hazard, because if there is a fire, that thing will go up like a match.
Right, but I mean, could that not be the common drop?
Well, it's hard to get into right now because it's definitely overgrown, and I've tried to get people to look at cutting back the trees and kind of doing whatever they need to do. And we own that property, by the way. So I'm thinking we need to take care of it.
Yeah, we do.
So I don't know if that's something that you all want to consider.
I think you need to be careful because then you're gonna have builders and stuff just dumping all kinds of.
They're not divided.
Yeah.
They have their own, what dumps, right?
Well, but if they see people, a pile of stuff, you know people are just gonna dump all kinds of stuff. It's not.
Well, this would be strictly just a courtesy to you all as a gesture so that we would be able to use it, and use it nicely.
Make it a one-time thing, you know? You set a date, one time.
We'd have to set it as a 1 day, 1 time. You get it there,
Get it by
and
this date.
we'll give you, a week, 10 days to put your stuff, and then we'll pick it up on a day, and then it's no more.
So what they do in
Just brush.
Briarcliff, I own
Just
properties in
brush.
Briarcliff. Briarcliff
Just
actually-
brush, not trash.
Not trash.
Briarcliff actually does that, and what they do is they have a common area, and they actually get a wood chipper in there, and they actually make mulch. So it helps the community clean things up and make mulch to put back down to do xeriscape in people's yards. So that's another thing we can look at too, maybe on that property that goes with nowhere.
Thank you. That'd be good.
No actual heavy trash pickup.
No. Okay, executive session, we're at 7:03.
If anybody wants the email address for the management, I'm gonna lay it right there.
Let me know. Thank you. Speaks English.
If you see a guy in a shirt that's nice enough that you need to get him in it, wherever you buy it. Yeah. I think this was a present from somebody. I don't know. What kind of partial are you there about?
Are you the teacher? What? Teacher? Yes.
Say, Greg. So, now see them by this tell me about it. You
The storm is coming up the road there. I also was gonna tell Paul something, about that, when he was talking about the ABC, quitting is, that ABC is a big field. They don't have to get somebody that big. Well, there is a different pool that's been sold out. I mean, there's these, one-man operation that they carry all their stuff in the back of their little pickup trucks.
Went out of business or sold out or something, ABC bought them out and took it over.
I don't believe it costs.
Well, when we had our pool done, just before we moved practically, like 2019 or something, just the all-new coping, and we got the expensive coping too.
They're talking about
Yeah. Yeah, good night. And it was what, 12 or 14,000, something. I can look it up. I still have the folder. Yeah. But we went straight to the coping, to the plaster people. We bypassed all the pool companies.
Well, part of it, no one wants to come out here.
I looked them up in Marketplace. They got
the one that we used.
I think closing I understand closing it temporarily is an issue, but
Not on that rate, but if they did decide to do that, you don't just fill in. It's a law that you have to take it apart. You can't just fill it. So that would cost some money. 3 pools. Yes, it would be nice to have a beautiful new pool like Ridge Harbor has, but these can be made nice. You can get those bins.
Right there.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy the numbers that they're throwing out. Those people, when they come in and plaster, from scratch practically. They take it down, They bring it it's not complicated. And plus we've got pretty new
breaking the freeze and well, they come into the community and say, oh, all these houses
Nice This one's going to be 45,000. This one's going to be 25,000.
One, they go to Park Creek Lakeside and then they come here. They okayed that.
Hold on, Patty.
You know, over at got the golf course over there. Okay, right on that golf course, there's a road Billy built for his band and whoever was staying in his house to stay in this room. But they didn't put firewalls. They put a bunch of boxes like this. And he sold them, or actually when the bank was here, they sold them. I had a friend bought 2 of them, 5,000 each. Wow. Because you could get a association to buy one of your policy. The options were
You just turn them into pickleball courts for their just about all this stuff back.
You know, I got a good friend now. Bell Mathis. So right there where Chevron is, that was Park Road, that was Mel Mountain. And Mel I bought 2.5 acres.
Said it was really open to any of the homeopathic stuff. The minute that came out of my face. Because me, I'm doing all that stuff first. Before I got the 84 or 85-year-old shooting up for poison. It's all about any home care. I did actually reach that
That's all right. But there's,
I did all that thing since the
She sets it out.
Somebody has
Okay, I knew it. I'll call you. And I did. I lose the gun. Lose the gun. Are you still flying? Somebody will find you. Well, I just I get around years back, I never got just reach out and we built one of them. Still got a glass there. We're talking about because it's been more than 10 years, and he's behind you in our world. He's in our life, and then that's what they want. He doesn't think he'd like to do that.
That's about it.
Yeah, you're like, how does that reflect on you? 2 weeks later, he showed up with a bus. Let's do it.
But he's got his water.
Okay, well, I'll try. Good talking to you again. Richard. See you,
You know, we have this porch in the back of the house. I'm very big. But it's only on the inside because the neighbors right there, nothing, so we're gonna have carpenters close it in. We're not gonna use that space. And what the most we have one or two. One's not running. Did you sell one to a guy named Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. So I have a friend that does on the common.
Yep.
This is like Tommy will be that retreat. He said,
Y'all have a good night.
Bill me for 20,000. I've never seen one. 20,000. 20,000. I'll read it. I just waited. That's one of them.
That's a nightmare for
Ladies and gentlemen, no action items. We're adjourned. Good night.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming.
No action. A lot of discussion. No action.
You're not people of action. Thank you all.
Thank you.